Welcome back, everyone, to Freaky Tales Podcast. And it's not Friday, but it is Sunday. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, everybody on the live, everybody who decided not to be on the live chat, everybody who's going to watch it later on. I know I get some comments that people usually tell me I'm watching at 3 o'clock in the morning while I'm at work. I want to tell you guys that I appreciate that. I truly do. You guys tapping in. A couple of days ago, I went live. I believe I went live on Wednesday. And we talked about a female from Green Bay, Wisconsin, tailors your business, and I got a lot of great feedback from that one. So it's my last episode. So if you guys didn't get a chance to tune in and watch that one, definitely go back and watch it. I got a lot of great feedback. I get a lot of feedback from all my episodes, but for this one, for some reason, this one I got a little bit more. But once again, I want to thank everybody who subscribed, everybody who was a member. I do also want to say that if you're not following me on the Freaky Tales podcast on Instagram, I'm asking that you please do, simply because right before we went live here, I went live on my Freaky Tales page. It was my first time ever going live on Freaky Tales, and I just said, let me just go try it. I'm going to start going live a lot more, if not daily, every other day, because I'm going to be visiting locations. And while I'm filming there, for the members only content, I'm going to be going live and at least give you guys somewhat of a recap of where I'm at, in case when you guys see the footage on the members only, or maybe you guys might just want to visit that place yourself. You can always DM me and I can give you the location, or you could just plain and simply just Google it. But I want to thank everybody who tuned in. And I want to thank everybody once again who has been with us since day one. And for all you new subscribers, thank you very much as well. Now, today, there's a subject that I want to talk about that I don't think I've ever covered a full episode on. Eventually, we're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. You guys can call in and share your stories, share your thoughts, give me your opinions. I'm open to hear just about anything, okay? But this is a very unpopular subject, and to be quite honest with you, even in some churches, they avoid this subject. I don't have a church that I attend. When I was Catholic, and when I would attend church, all we go to is Mass, and we never heard about this subject that I'm about to give you. There's been times that I visited Christian churches, and I might have heard one sermon about this. It's not too encouraging, but like the pastor had said, I'm not here to scare you, but to prepare you. And to me, that made a lot of sense. And the subject that I want to touch on tonight is hell. Is hell real? Or should I say, what is hell like? I don't think any of us can, if it does exist, and if there is a hell, if you were to ask me, I'll save that to the very end. But for right now, what I want to do, I want to start a poll, Alex. And do you believe that there is a hell, or is there a hell? However you want to, where people could put yes or no, or not sure. Maybe you're not sure. But this is a very, very unpopular subject, and the uncomfortable subject Jesus addressed more than anyone else. Now, the reason why I brought that up, because some people immediately think that this is somewhat of a religious subject. You need to get that out of your mind. Some people immediately believe he's going to give a Bible study. No, there is no Bible study. I'm not a Bible study teacher. But when you study the topic of hell, there's no other book in this world that covers that subject like the Bible does. And that's what intrigued me about that book. So many things in there that I've just been blessed with. And the more and more and more I dug to find out, the more and more gems I found. And when I went to this sermon years ago where this pastor talked about hell, he said, and this one may surprise you, because it really surprised me. He said, the rabbi, that's how he referred to as Jesus, talked more about hell than he did about heaven. And it shocked me. Like, it really did shock me. He actually went ahead and said that there are more references to hell in the New Testament alone than there is to heaven. That supposedly the rabbi, Jesus, talked about it over 70 times. And it was always in a warning situation. He warned people. And he goes on to share that hell was created for Satan and his demons, or should I say Lucifer and his fallen angels. It was never created for human beings. So when people say, well, if there is a hell, why does God send people there? Once again, according to the Bible, the scriptures, and once again, I'm not trying to ruffle no feathers, but since you guys tapped in, and this is my subject, and this is where I get my info, please understand, I'm just laying the foundation. That once again, oh, my phone is tripping again. My apologies. That he usually warned them, and he told them, that hell was created for Satan and his fallen angels, or Satan and his demons. It was never created for humans. So that answered my question. He doesn't send anybody there because it was never created for humans. Are there people there? I believe so. But before I get into what I what I believe, I want to hear what you guys believe right now that poll is up. So make sure you guys actually fill in that poll, and at the very end, we'll read off what the percentage is of people that believe and people that don't believe. But it's a very uncomfortable subject, and I just want to prepare you. Okay, that's why a lot of churches stay away from it, because it even offends people in the church when hell is taught. I believe that if there is a hell, we should know about it right now. If there isn't, then when you slip into eternity, I guess you just cease to exist. That's what some people believe. But we'll get into that. Now, what I want to do, let's put up picture number 1, Alex. Okay, and please let me know when it's up. And the reason why I want to talk about this subject, because I've had personal friends that have had near-death experiences. One of them flat out died, okay? And the story that he told me in front of his mother. So I knew he was not lying. This guy died, and I'll just call him Joe. That's not his name, but I'll just call him Joe. Joe was telling me the story in front of his mother that got into an accident. He was declared brain dead. That there was nothing that they can do. The only thing that was keeping him alive was the machine. That's the story that he told me. After, I guess, 2 days, 3 days, if I'm correct, he said that they decided to pull the plug. And they did. I seen the paperwork where he was declared brain dead. Okay. Now, eventually, he woke up. Now, to me, that's a miracle. They tested him. Everything was fine. And for some people, that may be hard to believe. But I know this guy. I know his family. So when he told me this, I was very, very surprised, especially after looking at his medical records. So guess what my next question was? Did you see anything? I was curious. And he said, yes. Now, I do want to say this, that most people that have near-death experiences never really want to talk about it. It takes them a long time to talk about it, because it takes them to a place in their life that they don't really care to visit anymore. They don't really care to think about it anymore. So it hits them. So several times while he's telling me this story, he stops to gather himself. I'm on the edge of my seat because I really want to know what is it that he saw. So if we can bring up picture number 2. Okay. Now you could take down or you could leave that other one up. Now the reason why I'm showing you this picture right here, because one thing that every person has told me that have had near-death experiences have told me that they ended up in darkness. Now we're going to get a little bit more into the darkness part. 3 people that have had near-death experience have told me they ended up in darkness. Now, so this individual, Joe, who I'm referring to him as, told me that he ended up somewhere he doesn't know. And here's the thing. He doesn't know how long he was there. Because all 3 people also, when they were able to gather themselves and talk to me, they told me time did not exist. So I don't know how long I was there. Obviously, in our time, he was gone for 3 days. But he doesn't know how long he was there in this dark place. He said, I don't know if I was in a field. It felt like cement. He goes, and then it felt somewhat like water. I can't really describe it. It could have been a wet floor. I don't know. He said, but it was complete darkness. He said, and then I looked ahead. I was just trying to see. I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. He said, that's how dark it was. He said, it was just creepy. It gave you a sense of fear. Then he said, when I looked across straight ahead, I saw a tiny, tiny light. He said, but it isn't that bright light that everybody talks about. No. And as it got closer, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. He goes, and this looked like the body of a man. But it was darker than the darkness. I want you to grasp that. It was darker than the darkness around him. So whatever this being was, he doesn't know. But the way he described them, now if you can put up the 3rd picture. Please let me know when it's up. And here's how he described the body. He said his organs, I can see them. They looked almost like lava lamps. Different colors, but he said that they were just changing in motion. And every time it would go up and down, that it would just change colors. That's what his body looked like. The rest was just all black. But he said his torso looked like, because the best way that I can describe it is it was like a lava lamp. He said, and this thing, whatever it was, walked up to me. He says, I don't even know how long it took to get to me. But it stood maybe about 5 feet. Now, I'm a person of detail. So I asked him, did you hear footsteps? And he said, no. He said, but he spoke to me. And I said, did you hear a voice? He said, yes, in my head. And I go, so like telepathy? And he said, something like that. And he just kept saying, hold on, I don't know. He said, because I still hear his voice in my head. So he gathered himself and he tells me that this being, whatever it was, told him, you can stay here or you can go back. He said, this thing gave me a choice. And I just said, I want to go back. I want to go back. So he goes, I started walking backwards, and that's when I woke up. Now, I wish I still had that drawing that he gave me, because he actually drew it of what he looked like. But this is the best way that I can describe it. But he actually drew like the lava lamps in the torso of this man. But what really creeped me out was when he said this thing was darker than the darkness. He said the darkness alone, I couldn't even see my face, but this thing was darker. Now in the Bible, it says that there is a such thing as outer darkness, and we'll get into that. We'll get into that. It is blacker than black, if you will. Another buddy of mine, he gave me pretty much the short version, because every time he would describe to me what he saw, he almost like went into shock. And it had been maybe like 6 months that he had this near-death experience. And he had said that 3 beings appeared to him. Same thing, dark room, but these beings were just darker than the darkness. He didn't describe them like my friend Joe described these. And that they told him, come with us, come with us. He goes, I didn't know who they were, so I didn't know where I was, so I just followed. He goes, and I noticed that we were just walking and walking and walking and walking. He goes, I don't know, once again, where I was. I don't know how long I was walking. And I asked him the same question. Did you hear a voice, or was it more like telepathy? And he said, I don't remember. I don't recall. So he didn't tell me, yes, they spoke with their mouth, or it was through telepathy type of deal. And he said, I just kept walking, and I finally said, where are we going? And they said, just come with us. He said, and the voices got meaner. So I stopped, and I started walking backwards. He goes, and I came to. He said, man, that's something I never want to go back to. I started looking into like studies of people that have had near-death experiences. And according to one study, they said that 21% of people that have had near-death experiences have had somewhat of what is that word I'm looking for? Like a hellish type of experience, that it was not good. That it was not good. The darkness alone brought fear upon them, because they said, I've never seen this kind of darkness. And to see something darker than the darkness, that was even creepier, if you will. He said it was one hell of an experience. So my thing that I want to talk about really quick, I kind of just want to share a little bit of what I said about the darkness. Okay? Because I asked, like, what did you guys see? And they shared these things with me. Now, I'm going to quote something from the Bible, okay? And if somebody says, why do you have to do that? I'm not going to explain myself. This is where I got my info. There's no other book that's going to be able to describe or to tell you what it's like. What it's like if there is a hell. Okay, the Bible uses the term outer darkness in the parable to describe a condition of a great sorrow, loss, and woe. The Bible talks about people that are being thrown into outer darkness. And the reason why I bring this up is because it reminded me of my buddy's near-death experiences. Then it goes on to say, the outer darkness of Jesus' parable is called blackest darkness. So that word, outer darkness, in Greek literally means blackest darkness. And it says that in there would be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So he's describing what hell was going to be like. Okay? We're going to get a little bit more into that. But since we are talking about right now, before we get into the actual topic of hell, I want to get into a little bit about individual Anton LaVey. And I want you to hear, I believe this is a family member who describes his last words. But before we play the video, can we bring up Anton LaVey's picture? I want people to know who he is. Okay. So that picture is up. Let me give you a little background of Anton LaVey if you guys don't know who he is. Okay, Anton LaVey was born in 1930 and died in 1997. Was an American author, musician, and Satanist. He was the founder of the Church of Satan and the religion of Satanism. He authored several books, including the Satanic Bible, the Satanic Rituals, the Satanic Witch, the Devil's Notebook, and Satan Speaks. That's another one. In addition, he released 3 albums, including the Satanic Mass, Satan Takes a Holiday, and Strange Music. He played a minor on screen role and served as technical advisor to the 1975 film The Devil's Reign, and served as host and narrator for Nick Bogus' 1989 film Death Scenes. Okay. So this man, by most people, they don't want to call him a Satanist, but they'll say he was a philosopher. So let's bring up the other picture of when he first founded the Church of Satan. Okay. The Church of Satan was founded in 1966 in San Francisco, California. Now, I do want to say this. The reason why I bring this up is because this man, according to a lot of people, did a lot of evil things. A lot of people still follow and believe this man's teachings. They see him as, like I said, a philosopher, a teacher. This man was loved and adored by a lot of people. But the person that you're about to hear, if I'm correct, is a family member of his. Okay, and they were there. Well, one of the persons was there at his deathbed when he was about to go into, if you will, out of this life. And what he saw, I'll allow this woman to give you guys what he saw. So I'm going to put on my headphones so that I can hear it along with you. So whenever you're ready, Alex.
It's a little bit off subject, but the same kind of principle. I heard that, and I won't mention his name, but it was a big leader and founder of a huge satanic organization. And he was on his deathbed. And for a Satanist, at the time of death, it's a great victory for them because death is a huge thing that they celebrate. And he was getting ready to die and pass on his powers and that. And on his deathbed, he must have got some revelation or an angelic appearance or something. And he went into shock and he said, "Oh my. Oh my, what have I done?" He said, "There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong."
Wow.
And his whole life had been spent propagating these satanic beliefs, getting everyone to believe, establishing official organizations for Satanism. And then at the end of his life, he gets this light that comes to him, and everything that he'd built, he realized was wrong.
Everything he built, he realized is wrong, and those were his last words. And like she said, for Satanism, at least the way he believes, because now I've learned that there's different Satanists, different types of beliefs. For them to die is something big, is something good. But whatever he saw struck fear into him. And if there is a hell, guess what? He found out where he was going at that moment. And he said, oh my, something is wrong. What have I done? To me, when I first heard that, it shocked me because I'm thinking, wow, this guy, according to him, he served Satan. And according to him, he was possibly deceived by Satan. And he found out when it was too late. Well, this guy didn't come back because he's still dead. Good thing is my two buddies, they were able to make it back and tell me about it. I like to learn and know about these things. Because nobody knows what happens when you slip into eternity. Do you go somewhere good? Do you go somewhere bad? Do you cease to exist? Is hell real? Those are the $1 million questions. Is hell real? And if it is real, what you would like to know about it? Like the pastor told me during the message, it is not to scare you, but to prepare you. And you know what? When I heard that woman share his last words, it shook me. The words that my friends told me at their near-death experience shook me. Now, I shared with you guys plenty of times here on this program that I've seen a lot of these dark figures, but mostly in my dreams, and I've seen them with my natural eyes. I've never asked to see these things. They just happen. Some people ask me, do you think that's a curse? Do you think that's a gift? I don't know. But I see them. I see them on people. I see them follow people. I see them in my dreams, and believe it or not, they're never anything good. So whatever they are, obviously they saw them at their near-death experiences. Here's another interpretation of what a near-death experience is. It's a personal experience that is associated with death or the possibility of death and has similar characteristics that researchers have identified. Some say that a better term for this experience is a recalled experience of death. So positives, near-death experiences can include a range of sensations such as feeling detached from the body, feeling like you are floating, feeling calm, safe, warm, or joyful, feeling like you are completely dissolving, reviewing major life events, seeing a light, seeing deceased relatives. Now, I was told by my sisters, and I'm sure one of them is watching now, that when my mom was in hospice, she saw her father. And one thing I will say that my mom dearly missed was her father. I think the last time she saw him, she was just a teenager. And when she passed, she said that she saw him standing at the corner of a room where the door was. And she was calling out to him. Most people say that they see their loved ones. Other people say that, I had a friend that lost his little brother. And right before he passed away, supposedly from what his family member said that he described, and saw his little brother, and that his little brother was calling him. That was his experience. Now, others are not so good. For this one, I'll leave him unnamed. I shared it many episodes ago, but I'll share it again. I had a buddy, and I'll call him Tommy, because I won't say his name. Tommy and his brother did not have a good relationship with his mother. As a matter of fact, he would say so many things about his mother, I almost felt like he hated her. So I asked him one day, why do you feel this way? In the same way, almost like the way my buddies would go into almost like a shock, where they just had to come to grips and slow down before they spoke. He did the same thing. He just said she was just not a good mother, man. She was just not a good mother. And I said, do you miss her? And he goes, no. He said, but I do want to tell you something. Okay, what do you want to tell me? And he tells me, my mom was in her deathbed, and she requested to see us, me and my brother. So this guy Tommy goes and looks her up. We get there. They said she's got a couple of days to live or whatnot. Me and my brother, we didn't know what to say. We were just like, oh, hey, what's up? Hi, Mom. And we were just there maybe just a couple of minutes. So we turned around. We were watching TV. He said, my mom's back of us. Where she's facing us, so I'm at her right hand, my brother's at her left hand. Her feet are right here. Here's a window over here, he's telling me. We're just watching TV. I turn around and look at my mom, and I don't know what to say, because I don't feel anything. She just was not a good mother, and he said that to me like 3 times, and that actually bothered me. So he said the next thing that he saw was that he saw from his, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, peripheral vision. I'm sorry, what was that? Peripheral. I have a hard time. Forgive me for that. He said, I saw her arm go up. So me and my brother turn around, and as we turn around, she has this horrific face. Like she just saw something evil. And her mouth opened wide and her eyes, and she just pointed, and she made this ugly face. Imagine somebody yelling, but there's no voice. There's no yell, and she just falls back and dies. Like, what was she pointing at? He goes, the window. And he goes, what do you think was that, Tony? What do you think? I think that was God or something? I said, I don't know, man. When I hear stories like that, I don't want to say the truth. Some people have good experiences, some people have bad experiences. I don't know. But yeah, okay. Now, let me go ahead and go to my notes here. So people want to know, okay, Tony, if there is a hell, what is it like? So I have some descriptions of hell. Nobody knows what hell looks like, but it describes what goes on in hell, if hell was real. The first thing that I want to bring up is that picture of the gnashing of teeth. Okay, it says, okay, that's fine. Take your time. It says that there is going to be an outer darkness, or the blackness of darkness. And in there is gnashing of teeth. And that is the best picture that I can give you of gnashing of teeth. Means grinding one's teeth together, having one's teeth set on edge, or biting down in pain, anguish, or anger. This is what hell was being described, what's going on in there. The outer darkness is judgment. The outer darkness of judgment is accompanied by weeping and gnashing of teeth. The weeping describes of inner pain of the heart, mind, and soul. The word in the original denotes a bewailing or lamentation by beating the breast in an expression of immense sorrow. The gnashing of teeth describes an outward pain of the body. Taken together, the weeping and gnashing of teeth says hell is a place of indescribable spiritual agony and unending physical pain. Unending physical pain. The outer darkness is a place of anguish, heartache, grief, and unspeakable suffering. Now, I do want to bring something up. Can before we bring up the other two pictures, can we bring up the five senses? Okay. I've heard several testimonies from people that have claimed that have gone to hell and came back. None of them ever said that, how would you say, look, I've always had a hard time believing people when they say, that they went to hell and they came back. But I listen. I like to believe that I'm a good listener. And one thing that they all have said, that there is torment, that there is suffering, that there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. But the way one guy described it, he said, this just isn't crying. People just ain't crying there. He said, this is a well that comes from your stomach through your mouth. They're in anguish. And all of these people that I've heard give testimony of the afterlife, if you will, claiming that they went to hell, here's what they described. They didn't describe what it looked like. They described what was going on. And one guy said this, that one person was calling him over. Hey, he goes, so I walked closer to the voice. Hey. I walked closer to the voice and I said, what do you want? Why are you here? And he kept saying, I'm sorry. And he said, what are you sorry for? Tell the church I'll give the money back. Tell the church I'll give the money back. And supposedly this man was there because he was serving in the church, but he was ripping the church off. And when his time came to meet his maker, he was a thief. Other people were saying, I was a bad father. I was never home. I did this. He said, I heard so many different voices. But one thing that I got from all those stories, that all of these people that had these experiences when they were in hell, they had all their five senses. So once again, your senses are, sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. And these people still had their memory. So they're not describing what hell looked like, but what was going on in hell. I don't know if there's anything here on earth that if hell was real, what is it like? I don't believe there's any comparison if it is real. But you have your five senses. Can you imagine that you did somebody wrong? And you end up in this place called hell. And you're there with all your five senses, where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. You're living in anguish, you're living in sorrow, and you remember things that you did that you could have made right and you didn't. There was a man that I saw in Huntington Beach, and he had a microphone, and he was walking up to people. And he asked this one guy, do you know the 10 Commandments? And I was just ear hustling. And the guy said, a couple of them. I don't really believe in that stuff anyway. The Bible wasn't meant to be taken literal. I don't really care about the 10 Commandments. He said, okay, do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions? I said, yeah. And he said, have you ever lied? And that guy goes, yeah. He goes, okay, you already broke one commandment. He said, okay, have you ever, he said, take God's name in vain? And he said, yeah. And he said, have you ever stole? And he said, no, I don't steal, man. I'm not a low life. I don't get down like that. He said, if anything, he said, these people that steal are the bottom of the barrel. He said, if you ask me, and he stopped himself. And when he stopped himself, he looked down and he came up and he started tearing up. And the guy said, what are you feeling, man? And he says, no, you're right. I have stolen. I have stolen. He said, then you broke the third commandment. He goes, no, listen, man, but this one hurts. And he said, why does it hurt so much? He said, because I stole someone's idea and made a lot of money from it. And I never felt the guilt until right now. And the guy told him, okay, well, I'm going to teach you how to get it right. Imagine the people, if there is a hell, that are living in anguish and in sorrow, wishing now they can take back the things that they had done. And that's all, if there is a hell. I can continue to go on and on and on, but I wanted to touch on this subject because this is it's not a popular subject to talk about. And Alex, how long has that question been up? Okay, good. Can you give me the results?
Yeah. It says, do you believe there is a hell? 128 votes, 79% said yes, 21% said hell no.
Okay. Let's do another one since the majority was yes. Okay. Here's the question. Do you believe you're going to heaven or hell? All right. If there is a hell. Okay. And then after you put that, let me know when it's up because I have something that I want to ask you, Alex. I hope you guys are still there watching. But once again, this is a very unpopular subject that people don't like to talk about it, not even in the churches. And I don't understand why. This is a freaky story, freaky topic, I should say. So, other than that, I hope you guys are enjoying it. We're going to get right back into it, but I need to ask Alex a question, you guys. Okay, my question to you is this. Growing up, who taught you or how did you ever hear of this place called hell?
My mom.
Okay. Do you remember the context of it? Like,
yeah, doing bad things. Like if you do bad things, misbehaving and not listening and stuff like that.
Right.
Not eating your food. Like my grandma, she'd tell me that God gets mad if you don't eat all your food.
Right.
Stuff like that.
I understand. And did that ever put fear into you?
When I started getting more description of what hell was, yes.
Do you recall what descriptions you heard that you could remember? How did they explain it?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, but you would hear that there would be suffering and.
I knew what it was. I knew what it was by the time I was
Yeah. Now you know what? Can we bring up those other two pictures now? Can you take down those two and bring up the other two? Growing up as a kid, I've always heard that it was a place where bad people went. We would always hear, the people that went there are people that are murderers, devil worshippers, rapists, child molesters. That's what I always believed. But, studying now, there's a lot more, and not to strike fear in anyone, But I'll tell you that in the scriptures, it actually shares that there are more people going to hell than people going to heaven, according to the scriptures. I wish that I can truly break that down for you, but, you know, it's not a study. But yes, and it is, hell is, in my opinion, well, I shouldn't even say my opinion. What I believe is, yeah, I do believe that hell is real, and I do believe that it should be talked about more. And when we open up the phone lines, I want you guys to call in. And if you've had a family member or yourself had a near-death experience, I would like for you to call in and share what you saw, if it's good or if it's bad. I would like for you to call in. If you had a family member, maybe you were there and you respectfully want to share that moment when a loved one or a friend passed on. Was there anything that they might have said or saw before they slipped into eternity? You know, and again,
Hey, Tone, quick
yeah,
question.
yes.
When you were younger, your parents never told you like not to swing your feet on the while you're sitting on a chair?
No, I've never heard that.
Because that's something my grandma used to say. She says, don't be swinging your feet on the chair because the devil swings on them. Like, anda el demonio en tu, you know, it's just some weird shit. I don't know. So I had to know what the devil was at
Right.
that time, you know?
Right. Okay.
I'll figure out more information about that. But she used to tell me some type of superstition like that. That if you a kid and you're swinging your feet on the
Yeah.
that it's because se está columpiando el demonio is what she used to say.
Okay.
But I think she used to just do that to get us to stop swinging our feet on the chair.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I do want to say, that of course when you hear of hell growing up, you always hear el diablo, the devil, or sus demonios, his demons. They go hand in hand. Now, I do believe that there is something called Lucifer, someone, or the devil, the serpent. I do believe that there is demons out there. I don't believe that they're in hell right now, though I do believe that there are some angels, fallen angels, that are locked out in chains right now. I do believe that. And if anybody cares to know where I get that info from, you can DM me at Freaky Tales Podcast on Instagram, and I'll share with you my information where I get that from. But not all of them. I believe they're all out here on the streets. I believe that's where they're at. There is going to come a time where this hell that we're talking about now will be thrown into the lake of fire. Can we bring up that picture? It's our last picture. And
Lake of fire?
yes, it's the last picture.
Okay.
The lake of fire. Nobody can describe to you what it's going to look like. Nobody's going to describe to you. I don't believe there's anything here earthly on this earth that we can compare it to. And it says that eventually everyone that was in, if you will, hell, will eventually be thrown into their final judgment, into the lake of fire. And that's where Satan and his demons will be thrown in there also. So not only will these people be in the lake of fire, but also Satan and his demons. And all of that was built just for Satan and his demons. So I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, guys, I don't know if there's anything else that you guys want me to share on this, but if you do, please call in and let me know. I'm going to go ahead and plug in with you, Alex. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up on this subject?
I'm trying to think of any other sayings that were told to me about you know, don't
Right.
do this or because the devil or something. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a few of them that my grandma was very strict about telling us that don't do this because the devil.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, especially being raised Catholic, being raised in a Mexican home, you know. So, Alex, did you put the number up? Okay. Okay. We already got a phone call, so these people must have it on redial or something. So I'm going to put my headphones on, guys. I want you guys to call in and let me know what you guys think. Here we go. Call it your name and where are you calling from?
Yo, Tony.
Yes.
It's Jose from Yuma, Arizona.
Jose from Yuma, Arizona. Thank you for tapping in, my friend. You have
Yes, sir.
a story, a comment, or
Thank you for the Sunday show, man.
Thank you. You're very welcome, man.
Yeah, actually, so it's gonna sound kind of funny, kind of dorky, but it makes a little sense. Remember that movie Little Nicky?
Little Nicky.
Have you seen that movie Little Nicky?
Is that the one with Adam Sandler?
Yeah, where he's the son of the devil, and
Yes.
he comes up to remember that one little pervert that was up in the tree looking at the one lady, taking pictures, and then he falls off the tree and breaks his neck and stuff like that, goes to hell.
Yes.
And there's a crow following him all over the place, and everywhere he gets him, he bangs him, So, what if hell is just, you go to hell and all the bad stuff you've done, it's like a recreation. It's happening to you, kind of like your karma happening to you. You know what I'm saying? To that person. So you go to hell. If a rapist is a rapist, he's be getting raped in hell, If a killer was, a killer out there, boom, he'll be experiencing getting shot every day, pow, shot in the head, shot in the chest, and feeling all that, with the five senses,
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up because you just jogged my memory. Let me share something with you.
Yes, sir.
I saw this guy on YouTube when I was doing my research for this, and he was sharing that his friend had a near-death experience, and his friend believed that he went to hell. Now, the reason why he's sharing this, because he says this, even though I will never give this guy up, he was a friend, but when he confessed to me what he was doing, he said, I had to pretty much distance myself from him. But this guy had changed his life after this near-death experience. He said he died and went to hell. And he said that when he was in there, in this hell, he was being constantly raped. Okay?
Holy shit.
And he said, why would they be raping you? And he confessed to them, because I've been a rapist for years. And it shocked him. It shocked him. So, so it kind of goes along with what you're saying. And it's funny because he said that his friend said that while he was in this dark place and he was being taken advantage of, he was remembering and he was sorry for everything that he had done. So he still had his memory. He still had his senses. He was still able to feel and all of that. So.
And also today, I was scrolling through some videos, and there was this one bodybuilder, African-American gentleman.
Yes.
Huge guy. He died in a competition. I mean, so he had something like a heart attack due to dehydration. Forgot his name, but he was a super duper famous guy. I forgot his name, but so he dies they take him to the hospital. He dies, and as he was explaining, he said that he saw heaven and he saw hell, and that he saw like the doctor at the end of the tunnel, kind of working on him, and he said that something in him gave him that strength, and he got that strength, and boom, woke out of it. But he said that he was dead. I mean, the doctor did pronounce him dead for a while.
Yeah.
For,
wow,
a quick little minute. So, but he said that he explained, and he said that everything was dark.
Yeah. See, it was maybe for a quick little minute in our time. But one thing that they all have in common, they've all said time does not exist when you're there. So they don't really know how long they were there. They just know they were there. And hell, according to studies, is eternal. It's forever. There is no time there. So.
I've seen a lot of videos on that, and that Dante's, what's it called? Dante's Inferno, right? That's the name? I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know what
the different levels of hell.
Yes, yes.
The different levels of hell.
I do
And
believe.
that there's like like there's like levels. Like there's like the robbers, the pedophiles. There's like the people that there's like levels and levels and levels. And levels.
I believe that. I believe that. And to be quite honest with you, I even believe that there's even levels of punishment. Like I believe that's what those levels are. So.
And that is true too, man. When people die, they say they see your relatives, and
Yeah. That's a good thing.
maybe they're good angels are trying to take you up there, or maybe they're demons trying to mess with you and take you down there.
Yeah.
Who knows? Pretty crazy. We might never know until
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
What we got to do is just keep a straight line and walk in a straight line, and that's it, man.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we go to the right place.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for the Sunday show, man. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna keep watching right now.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking
You
the
have a good
time.
one, bro. Thank you.
Yes, you too. All right. Thank you for that call. That was a good call. The phone line is up. So the topic is hell. For those of you guys that are just barely tuning in, call in. And if you have a story you want to share, go for it. And call it your name and where are you calling from?
Tony A. Caesar from Paris.
Caesar from Paris. That's right. I always know because it's
How we doing?
666 on your number.
That's right, in the house. How we doing, everybody? What up, Alex? Shout out. First of all, before I start anything, shout out to all the God believers, all the devil believers, all the Pac-Man believers. We're not here at Freaky Tales to discredit or to disrespect anybody's religion. Now, let's talk about this guy, this Satan worshiper guy, Levine or Levon.
Anton
what's
LaVey,
his name?
yes.
Anton Levine, which actually looks like the bad guy on the original Flash Gordon movie, if you remember that, Tony A.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
that's just a little side note. Caesar from Paris, a little movie fun fact. But anyways, you know what? And nobody really even knows. A lot of people like to speculate what was his last words. Well, his last words were for sure fact. But what did he mean? How far did he mean? A lot of believers would like to believe that he seen an angel and that he tried to repent his ways of being a Satan worshiper. A lot of people also think, why would this human think that after worshiping the devil or being a Satanist, what would he think that he would be valuable enough to stand next to still the devil, still an angel, right?
Right.
Who really didn't seem too fond on humans anyways, I think. So that was a weird one right there too. You guys touched on the first two on the first caller, which I believe he lives in the real hell, Yuma, Arizona, which I like to put that on fact. It is hot as fuck out there.
Yes.
I'll give him props. I give anybody props who lives in Yuma, Arizona, because it's hot as fuck. Yeah, you guys touched on it a little bit. I really believe heaven or hell for each person is different.
Yes.
I believe when you look at yourself in the mirror, you cannot lie to yourself. Your inner conscience does not lie. You cannot lie to yourself. You know if you are a good person or you know if you're a filthy one.
Absolutely.
Some think their heaven is 40 virgins waiting for them. Some think it's your old family member's picnic waiting for you. And some think dark and horrifying places. We really have no clue. But one thing I do kind of relate to is if, for example, if I'm driving home and I say a hot dog vendor place, but I'm going home and I go to sleep and I'm gonna go to sleep and I'm gonna dream about flying hot dogs in a way. You know what I mean? Your brain, you're inside of your brain. So when you're dying, I know you're dying. Either you're gonna know you repent for all your sins and you truly are a good person, and this is where I'm gonna go. And that's where you're going to go, wherever it is you believe. It could be a bunch of cats waiting for you in kitty heaven. That's where you're going to go because that's where you believe as a real human person. You could bullshit to anybody else the rest of your life, but you cannot lie to yourself, my friend.
You know what? You said something, okay? And I just want to kind of piggyback off of that. You said you can look in the mirror and, let me say it this way. You can lie to your friends and you can lie to your family, But that mirror in the bathroom is cold-blooded. You see what you really are. You know what you are. Just like you said, if you're a piece of, that's what you are. It's very true. We can lie to everyone, but we know who we are. So.
Yes.
So at the very end of the day, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Go ahead, Tony. You're making a beautiful point. Perfect point.
At the end of the day, I believe that what's done in darkness will be brought out to the light. So, once again, you could lie to your family, you could lie to your friends, and they could think you're an angel. But when you look in that bathroom, the truth is right there in that mirror. So, that's my...
Let me tell everybody out there. Tony, I'm sorry to cut you off, but yeah, exactly what you're saying. And just imagine, people, how much better your sleep will be, how much better your socializing will be if you just bring that person that you see in the mirror and you talk to somebody else as that person. Be who you are. And believe me, Caesar from Paris will guarantee you this. Your life will be better. Imagine waking up happy. That's what we're all looking for. Yeah. Love your neighbor. Love yourself. Give good energy out there. Man, Freaky Tales, Alex, Tony A, Caesar from Paris. And I'm out.
Thank you, bro, for calling in. I appreciate that call. Anything you care to, Alex, or you're good?
No, I was just researching that thing about swinging your legs on the chair.
Okay, any info?
Yeah, it's just an aggressive way of parents making you do what you don't want, or
Okay, let me get this call. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
What's up? Loudest from West Texas.
Loudest, I knew it. I knew you would be calling in. Talk to me, my bro.
It's a very juicy topic, so to speak.
Please speak on it, man.
Well, I wanted to ask you if you've ever heard of the second century work of apocalyptic literature called The Apocalypse of Peter.
The Apocalypse of Peter. No, I do not. Only thing that I heard of it, the only thing that I heard of in the Catholic Bible, they call the book of Revelation the Apocalypse. That's the only thing that I've heard.
Yeah. Well, this one, it didn't make it to the Bible. It's kind of I guess you could compare it to a bootleg. It was some scripture that was found out there, around that region where the authors of the Bible resided in.
Yeah.
And in the Apocalypse of Peter, Jesus is showing the disciple Peter the terrors of hell. And it's a very short text. And I tell anybody who's interested in biblical history or scripture to seek that out. But in there, just to summarize it, blasphemers and heretics are hanged by their tongues. These are just the methods of torture that were described. Adulterers were suspended by their genitals. Anybody who doubted the word of God would have their eyes continually burned out with hot iron. Slaves who disobeyed their masters, they were said to have forced to chew out their own tongue. Wow. And that's just a piece of scripture that was found out there. Now in the Bible, in the book of Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, not only is the killing of heretics permitted but required. That's to say, like witches and sorcerers, even somebody who's just a practitioner of herbal medicine could fall under that definition of a heretic and be tortured, and your family would basically be extorted for everything they own. They would put you to death, and as you were being put to death, you would be forced to give up other so-called witches and heretics. Now, the reason I'm bringing up these things is because there's a train of thought that says that I guess these things are excused, like as far as the torturing and the horrific imagery behind the Bible. Now, my only question would be if Christianity and Catholicism is such a great thing to offer people, why do you think it has to be given under threats of duress and torment? That's
a good question. And you know what, Lattis? I want to say this. I was raised a Catholic. I neither consider myself a Catholic now but I love my Catholic people. I have a lot of Catholic friends, and I have Christian friends, but I would never describe myself or call myself a Christian. But I have visited both denominations, the Catholic Church and the Christian Church, quite often because many times I like to hear good, inspiring messages. But that's one thing that I've even asked pastors, and whether they're evangelists or missionaries, why is that topic never brought up? And they've said, well, now the Christian Church would always say, well, because we don't want to scare anyone. There's even some churches that won't even use the word hell anymore. They'll describe it as a world without God. And that's me personally. I would never, if I was one of these guys that was going around door to door telling people about the Bible, I wouldn't tell them about hell immediately. I think what you're asking is that if this is such a good news, why are people using hell to scare people to join their church? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Right. And not only that, if God's people, God's messengers, which would be priests and clergy, if they are people of God, of this great belief system, why are they the authors of such evil when it comes to torture devices and stories of eternal torment and the most graphic and psychotic thing? Because if you took religion out of any of this and just read down the list of ways to torture people who didn't believe in God from back in the day, if you took religion out of it and just went down the list of these things and asked people what they thought of it, they would say that these people are fucking psychotic.
Right. I understand your question. And you know what? I have a thing called Bible Talk, on my other podcast on the Tony Vision page. And the reason why we haven't had one of those lately is because I can't find anybody that wants to come on. I've asked pastors, and right now I've been looking for a priest because there's a lot of these questions that you're asking right now that I want to ask these priests. I met a priest, and this is not, I'm not joking when I say this. Okay. Met a priest, and you have to go to school for a lot of years to become a priest. I think it's like either 7 years or 9 years. And he never even read the full New Testament. So I don't know what they're teaching these people in these schools. So I got a feeling that the reason why a lot of these guys are avoiding me because they probably know that these questions are coming.
Yeah, and not only that, they don't want to misrepresent their people. Because there's so many denominations out there, so many different offshoots of Christianity and the Judeo-Christian religion in general. It's easy to go down these rabbit holes, and what one priest is going to say is fact. 30 others are going to say no, it's not that, it's this.
Yeah. Let me bring this up real quickly because I talked to a friend of mine who's an ex-Muslim, and here's what he told me. He asked me a question. You know what the fastest growing religion in the world is? And I said, I wanted him to tell me. I knew what it was, and he said it's Islam. He goes, Islam has over 1 billion followers now. They outgrown the Catholic Church. He said, but it's not the fastest growing. He said, it is the fastest growing enforced religion in the world. He says, here in the U.S., you guys have rights. Over there, we have no rights. We have Sharia law. We do something wrong, they cut off our hand. That's if they don't cut off our head. But it's funny because nobody ever talks about that. But there are a lot of people that will attack the scriptures of what went on in the Old Testament, but they will never talk about that. But that's for a different conversation.
Yeah, and I guess it all depends on what part of the world you're at as to what they're going to consider, good or bad as far as religions go. One more thing, the Anton LaVey thing you played a little while ago.
Yes.
The lady talking, I'm not sure who she is or what relationship she had with Anton LaVey, but she made a comment that was completely false, and she said something about Satanists revering and worshiping death, being into death, which is, it couldn't be further from the truth. Satanists, in regards to modern Satanism, which was Anton LaVey's brand of Satanism. Revere life as the most precious thing you have, and you have to enjoy it here and now, being that, you know, they don't believe in an afterlife or eternal paradise. So the whole thing about worshiping death and being into death, that's completely false. Life is held as a very precious thing in the eyes of a Satanist.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you cleared that up. But I appreciate that call.
Yeah. And I don't buy into the deathbed convert story either. I think that's a lot of folklore for the missionaries and people out there who would like to think that, oh, this evil man was turned to God. I don't believe that. I just don't see that happening. Not with him.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the guy, the Charles Darwin. Supposedly,
right.
Again, I guess supposedly, but there is word out there that he supposedly, on his deathbed, he gave his life over to God. Now, I know Richard Dawkins, who wrote the book, The God Delusion, says he totally denies that. And, you know, he goes, I don't believe that Charles Darwin would do that. He said, but when I die and I take my last breath, I'm going to have a camera on me because there is not going to be no conversion. I'm not going to cry out to anybody or to nothing. He said, but I don't believe that Charles Darwin. But there is supposedly family members that spoke up when Charles Darwin died on his deathbed. Supposedly he had repented and converted. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
But,
well, one thing, all these great names and great men out there who were detractors of the church and didn't believe, one thing they all have in common is people who would say that they converted on their deathbed, which is kind of suspicious to say the least about, you know, people like that. They did the same thing about Marquis de Sade, the famous French philosopher who was adamantly against the church and religion. They said on his deathbed he turned to God. There's a couple other names out there. John Wilmot, an English poet, they said he turned to God on his deathbed, which, again, you just got to take these things with a grain of salt sometimes, I think.
Exactly. Thank you, Lattice.
Hey, I want you to, I want to thank you for taking my call, and it's a pretty interesting topic tonight.
It truly is. And it's a topic that's avoided by a lot of people, but I wanted to take it head on. So thank you for calling in and sharing that info with us.
All right, man.
All right,
Talk to you
later. That was good. I'm glad that he called in, and we got the phone lines are open. So if you guys want to call in, anything else, Alex, on that, or pretty much that it was just, well, you know what? Got another call. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Rick from L.A.
Rick from L.A. How you doing tonight?
Hey, how you doing, Tony? I've called a couple of times when you were with Marvelous there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, I wanted to share a couple of things about Islam. I had converted to Islam, you know, with my wife from Afghanistan. And it depends where you live, you know what I mean? Because when you follow the Sunni Islam,
yes,
they have a sect that they say there's a million ways to reach the road, you know, that you're supposed to be on. And that's the road that you will take in order to reach Allah, which is God. You know what I mean? And I still have my roots in Catholicism. I was raised as Catholic, you know what I'm saying? So I said it's just a road that we're all going to take, you know, to reach to where we're supposed to be. But getting into a story, you know, I was, you know, God is almighty. I'm going to tell you that right now. And when my grandma was diagnosed with renal carcinoma, you know, it's cancer of the kidneys.
Yes.
It just so happened that those 3 months, I happened to have a knee surgery and I was off work, and I was with her throughout the whole duration, you know. It was beautiful. I mean, I was with her the whole time. She only spent like about a week and a half in the hospital before she finally passed, you know. So it was funny because I would pray for my grandma when she would be out, you know, and stuff when I was there. I had to go to my therapy and everything. And then one day she just woke up. She goes, there's one God and there's only one God. And I go, Ama, are you okay? And she'd be back out. And then one day, her sister, Dora, that's my tia Dora, right? They were really close, you know what I mean? And one day she just woke up out of nowhere and she goes, in Spanish, ábreme la puerta, que no vamos a pasearnos, ¿o qué?
Yeah.
And I go, Ma, who are you talking to? She goes, Dora, no me quiere abrir la puerta. And I go, what do you mean? And she goes, no, pues aquí está en el colchón y no me quiere hablar la puerta, you know? And I was like, oh, man. I go, who are you talking to? Mom, Tia Dora, Te digo. And her eyes, when she was open, it was not like she was looking at me. She was far out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, after what happened was I went home, you know, and I told my mom, I go, Mom, I go, who's this? Who's that? She goes, oh, Benny, that's your grandpa's younger brother. He always loved your grandma. He had the finest cars all the time, you know. And I said, well, this is what happened. She goes, oh, what? That was Tia Dora. I go, they both passed, you know. And I go, they wanted to take her to a ride, and there was not time to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, it was a trip, you know. I didn't know who Benny was or anything. I know my Tia Dora, but I didn't know anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I told my mom, I go, hey, Mom, and my Tia Nancy, I go, maybe you should go and have breakfast with Mama Lucy because they're going to serve breakfast right now, and I got to go to my therapy. Well, it was not meant for me to see my grandma pass on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And an hour and a half later, when they went to have breakfast, she passed on. God knows what she said, but, you know, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, after my mom passed, you know, that was like, 10, 12 years later. And we were there at the hospital, you know, and they said my mom had passed away. And I went there, you know, to pay my respect. I kissed my mom in the forehead, you know, because she schooled me really, really well, you know what I'm saying? So she couldn't have done a better job than the TALEZ, you know, for me. And I felt the breath, you know?
Yeah.
And I said, excuse me, nurse, my mom's not passed on. She's still breathing. Oh, my God. Oh, they rushed everybody out the room. And, you know, 45 minutes, you know, passed before they finally announced her, you know? And everybody said, what happened? I go, Mom's still alive. And then everybody said, oh, well, what's going on? I go, well, you know, Mom's always been a fighter, right? So she goes, ay, cabrones, ahí todavía no me van a enterar todavía. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But anyway, there's so many things to life, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And a month later, we had a dinner for my mom, you know, and just recognition, you know, to celebrate her life.
Yes.
And I don't know. I saw it coming. I was eating chicken, you know, the plato, frijoles, arroz y todo, you know. And I saw that chicken coming into my throat, and I started choking. And I went out, and my brother, he grabbed my head so I wouldn't, you know, my head wouldn't fall in the frijoles, right?
Yeah.
And I swear, the thing that I saw was a huge dove with writing on the tail. And I've seen this before many times. The light is so bright. It doesn't blind you, but it's the brightest light you'll ever see in your life, you know? And it came down with the wings flapping, but it was no air or anything. So I started reaching up to it, you know?
Right.
And right when they were doing the Heimlich on me, it started to go back up. And it said, it's not your time yet. And I came back and I told everybody, no, puro pedo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, man, it was real. It was real, Tony. But everybody, believe me, you have your heart and it'll lead you the right way. Gracias for taking my call, man.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you for being a part of the show tonight. Appreciate
All right.
it. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for that. So you were looking that up, Alex, before we get on the phone call, and it's pretty much just a folktale?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right, guys. We got about 15 more minutes. Okay, 15 minutes of calls, maybe 10 minutes of calls. So whoever wants to call in right now and share your... Go ahead.
I have the poll.
Okay. How many minutes has it been up there?
30 minutes.
Okay.
34 minutes.
Let me know.
Okay, 147 votes. The question is, where do you think you're going? And 76% said heaven, and 12% said hell, and another 12% said, I don't believe in anything.
Okay, thank you for that. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
How's it going, Tony?
How you doing? Hello?
What are you doing?
Okay, anyways. I know this is freaky tales. You don't have to call trying to sound freaky. Okay, so anyways. Well, that was funny though. You know, I just get so many like mental pictures of what that guy was looking like right now? You don't want me to give them to you, Alex, do you? No, okay. You know what? If he calls again, I'm going to put his phone number up there, okay? He has to call him up and...
What's that guy from The Silence of the Lambs?
Yes. What's his name? Okay, here we go, right here. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, what's up, Tony, man? This is Ed calling from YC, Mid-Valley.
What's up, Ed? How you doing tonight?
What's up, man? Yeah, so I wanted to share, I guess I could share two quick instances. I already got an idea of how to break them down pretty quickly, so somebody could call in afterwards. But yeah, so I know you had that guy, that dude Norm Steele, you know, like
Yes.
in your other podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, it was on Freaky Tales, and I know he mentioned something. So it's ironic that because I know a lot of cats just for being biased on whatever, you know, for whatever reasons or however they grew up or whatever the case may be, they'll blame it strictly on like when people have I think it's sleep paralysis is what they call it.
Yeah, sleep paralysis.
And just to Simone, and just to put it like this, I've never suffered from that. I've never had episodes like that. Never as a kid, nothing. But I don't go to service as much as I used to, but I do. I am a believer. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first started going, like, you know, like typically like anybody else, like if you go to a place that has fruit and that's fruitful, because they'll tell you, like, you know, if you go to a place, you know their works are righteous by the fruit that they bear.
Yes.
So the place told me that, if you accept them and you're gonna do this thing, then expect like you might get some little attacks, you know, from the enemy or whatever, and or like from his minions, and you know stuff like that did happen. But I wanted to share two things, because a lot of times he'll attack you when you're weak, or sometimes he'll leave you alone and he might try to come at you. So I think this will help people that might have experienced it, because I know some people have called and they said that they have. But Norm Steele said it best that one time, and then you'll remember when I share my story what he said. But I remember one time sleeping, bro. I was passed out on the floor for whatever reason, so I had a lot more traction on the ground. And for whatever reason, something woke me up. Like it was probably 2 or 3 in the morning, and I could feel that it was an attack. So normally when I've gotten attacked, I've actually been able to physically, vocally speak and pray it off, like use the blood and all that, you know. And whatever was attacking me, like a demon or whatever. It was crazy because, like I said, it attacked me when I was most vulnerable, when I was sleeping, so I wasn't aware. And normally I know, like, I'm being attacked. As soon as I know I'm being attacked and it's not something normal, like not a person or something, if it's spiritual, I know to pray it off. Yeah. But the first thing that I tried to do when I noticed what was happening, I felt pressure on my right side, so on my strong side. And I was trying to get up, like trying to do like a push-up to get up. And then I felt like tremendous, like somebody was putting 2 hands, like all their weight on my right side of my upper back. And when I tried to do like a push-up type of thing till I get up, I couldn't, and I was only able to get up on my left side because all the weight was on my right. And then when I tried to pray, I couldn't talk, bro. I felt like I was being suffocated, like somebody was like choking me. So I felt like I was being attacked by multiple people. Like I felt like 2 people were holding me down on my right side, on my upper back from getting up. Yeah. And I also felt like I was getting like choked or like suffocated, so I couldn't even physically and vocally speak to be able to pray it off. So I kind of felt like it was kind of like a test or something. And what I did immediately, because like I couldn't breathe also, bro. And I think Norm still said that he had an attack like that one time. So what I did was that I started praying in my mind, and I started doing those prayers and like the way that you attack it off, and cast all that crap out. Yeah. And all of a sudden I get to praying in my mind, and that stuff goes away. And it left me alone. I was like, oh damn, and I just went back to sleep. I was like, oh shit, that was a trip. Yeah. But a second thing, you know that figure. I think it's like the image I was like in and the exorcism, like that white demon-looking thing that you have in the background.
Oh, right here? This thing right here? I don't know if you see it right here.
Yeah, Simon. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
En la pantalla, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a trip, bro, because I think I hadn't seen the movie Exorcist in a long time, bro. So I don't know where, unless it's from watching Freaky Tales, but I remember one time when I was sleeping, bro, like real quick. Yet again, but this time I was actually in a dream. For whatever reason, I'm in my house, but it's just, a dream is, it's always going to look different. So I end up being in my house, but like in like a garage warehouse type of thing.
Yes.
And in the corner, like in the top of like the attic, of that warehouse, garage thing, there's this ghoulish, like shadowy look. It's like a mix between the Grim Reaper, and it had the face of like that demon type of thing, like a white ghoulish face, and it's looking at me, and it's like kind of like reaching out to me, and it's like trying to like kind of like wave me over, like, oh, come here, and it's smiling at me like it's trying to scare me or intimidate me, or I don't know what the hell.
Yeah.
But he's like trying to call me to him, and then the first thing, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I got spooked in the dream. I remember it felt like I was awake, in real life, and then for whatever reason, at that point I didn't pray, because I'm from the streets too, bro. So like I felt like that thing was trying to punk me. So and in the dream, I just looked up on him and I got crazy, like, and basically I didn't bow down to it.
Yeah.
And then once I called it out and I started like cursing it out, or in the dream cussing it out. I don't know why, but I was like cussing it out and like acting crazy with it. That thing, its expression completely changed from like trying to like be like intimidating and like trying to like do whatever it wanted to do, like scare me, like whatever, trying to kill me. I don't know. All of a sudden, its face changed. Like, oh, what the hell? Like it looked like it looked like it was scared. And then when I confronted it, all of a sudden it disappeared, bro. Like gas. It was a trip, bro. So a lot of times, I think the point that I'm trying to make is that a lot of times you step up to those things, and you know how to defend yourself through prayer and stuff like that. It does make a big difference. But hey, shout out to you, Tony. Thanks for dropping these videos, bro. Keep them up, man.
Thank you, man. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you have a good night, bro.
You too. Okay. So far, so good. I say we're going to take at least probably one more. Who's going to be our last phone call? Then we're going to wrap it up here, guys. So, so far, so good, Alex. I'm really enjoying this one tonight. I think I like the two a week. I don't know how long I'll keep doing it, but I'm enjoying it, kind of just switching it up a little bit. Okay. Call it your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Tony. This is Angel calling from the San Fernando Valley.
Angel, how are you tonight?
Good. Good. How are you? Thanks for taking my call.
All good, my brother. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to touch on the poll question that was put up about heaven and hell.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when it comes to people that share their story about having a near-death experience,
yes,
these stories from people in general, from different races, not just one culture, they all say in their stories, similar stories, that once they were medically pronounced dead, that they have a out-of-body experience, and they see themselves going down a tunnel, and that there's a bright light. Now, whether the bright light is up close or from distant, but they always say that they see a bright light. And then and there's also been researchers that have done studies on this, and there's many of them have shared similar stories. Now, if that is so, that they see this light, then if you when it comes to reading books, spiritual books, it mentions light. So light is more, we interpret it as like a good thing, the Holy Spirit, a heavenly realm.
Yes.
Now, if that is so, then it could be that there's hell too. Because when it comes to heaven and hell, it's just our beliefs. What we have, what we have been told or what we believe in, but none of us have really seen it or experienced it.
Correct.
But so yeah, there could be both heaven and hell. That's just one example. I mean, for many people to say this, share similar story about light.
Yeah.
You have any your take on it, or
Well,
have you heard about that?
yes, I've heard about that, but the people that have shared the stories with me were actually close friends with me. I've also heard testimony from other people, from other interviews. My thing that the reason why I believed my two buddies is because I was there and I saw them. One of them, his mother was there, and I saw how shook up he got every time he kept reminiscing about what he saw. I see people on television or on YouTube doing interviews, and then they say, "Oh yeah, I went to hell for 23 minutes, and I saw people," and it was almost like it didn't affect them. Like the so-called terror and horror that he saw. If those are people down there suffering, and you're talking about it all nonchalant, that worries me. I think you're just sharing a story. I don't believe you actually went down there because I do believe that if somebody actually went down there, their life would completely change. Something would change if they saw that horror, if they saw that terror. Something would definitely change. They would be scared straight, if you know what I mean. So, So I'm thankful that, I never went to hell, and I don't plan to go into hell, and I don't want to have none of those experiences, man. So.
Yeah. Okay. I just want one quick thing. Piggyback on the last caller, he mentioned sleep paralysis.
Yes.
I truly believe that is real. I've experienced it 3-4 times in a lifetime. Now, I don't know what it is. All I know is that it is real.
Yes.
It could happen while you're in bed. There's different stories to it. There's people say that it's demonic. There's science, medical science that says it's the brain. I don't know what it is, and I'll probably never know what it is, but it's real.
Yeah, it is real.
Whatever it is, yeah.
It is so.
Okay, well, that was I just wanted to touch on that since that was the poll question.
Yes.
Again, thanks for taking my call, and shout out to Freaky Tail Podcast.
Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All right, well, have a good night.
Good night. Okay, Alex, that was our last call. First and foremost, I want to thank all the callers. Thank you. You guys were great. Except that one freaky guy. I don't know what he was. Tony, how you doing? You know who has a freakier voice? Johnny D.
I thought it was Buffalo Bill.
No, you're talking about or Hannibal Lecter?
Well, yeah, okay, well, Buffalo Bill. You said I could only imagine what he looks like on the other end.
Right. Okay. Alex, is there anything that you want to share before I give my shout outs?
I just got the poll going right now.
Okay.
And, just do your thing and I'll go after. Just tell people to vote.
Okay. That'll work. Let me see something real fast.
And we're almost at 100 likes.
Yes, please hit that like button and let's keep it going. I just want to share this really fast. Okay, you guys. First and foremost, once again, if you don't follow me on Freaky Tales Podcast on Instagram, please do, because I'm going to start going live there. If not every day, for at least 10 minutes. You guys can ask me any type of question you guys would like. But follow me on Freaky Tales Podcast on Instagram to catch me live. If not every day, at least every other day, I'm going to start going live on that. But other than that, Alex, should I just give my shout outs, or are you good? We good? Okay, can you bring them up and remind me, please? Oh, yeah, I told you to bring those up. Okay, but I guess it was before the Lake of Fire one. Okay, that was my fault. But this is what the weeping and gnashing of teeth is described in the scriptures. So once again, you guys have voted. You guys do believe that hell is real. I believe that hell is real. So that's my answer. Final answer. I do believe hell is real. But with that being said, I want to thank once again everybody for tuning in tonight. Please hit that like button. It really helps our algorithm. I'm trying to bring up the subscribers on here. We're about 17,200. I want to thank everybody who's a subscriber. Please hit that notification bell button so whenever we go live. Now, you may say, I already did it, Tony. I hit the notification bell button. Here's what I want you to do. Here's how you refresh it. Just take it off and then hit it back in. It will refresh it, because many people have told me, I never get my notification. Why is that? Just try that. I truly believe it'll help. Or go to the catch on the app. Go to your settings, go to your app, go to your catch, and clear it up. And it would help that. So once again, thank you. Thank all the callers, everybody in the live chat, everybody who decided not to be on the live chat, all of our subscribers. And once again, please follow us on Freaky Tales Podcast on Instagram to catch me live and to share a story. Whenever I go live, I'm going to share a story with you guys, okay? So get on there. So when you see me live, give me about 2 minutes, let everybody log in, and then I'm going to start sharing with you guys. So thank you guys. Truly appreciate you guys. See you guys here next week. Thank you. Have a good night.
Last thing.
Yes.
Okay, so I put right here, the last question is, what do you think hell smells like? 37 people voted.
Okay.
Okay, the options were sulfur, landfill, or fertilizer. 35% voted for that. 8% said sewage, feces, urine. 22% said the smell of something burning. And 33% said dead bodies.
I would say it probably smells worse than all of that together. So, okay. Once again, thank you guys. See you guys here next week. Expect the unexpected.
Okay.